Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold this just a minute. You want a little bit of
I'm the world heavyweight champion.
That'll be the best of me. More to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19.
Pretty hard, and look at Buddy going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, Billy Corgan's NWA. I almost said 2016. Wow, I don't know where that came from. So, we are a couple powers in now in the new year, and I think we're immediately going to change some stuff. One of those things that I want to very quickly change is... unfortunately, I think the thing that we changed most recently, which was the show time, it's just simply untenable. A 1 hour show for what we want to do. I just don't think we can handle putting the story beats in there. I'm gonna try an hour 30. It's a very weird time for a show. But if you were to think about it, it would basically be the equivalent of a 2 hour show on MAV TV, but with maybe extra commercials in it. So it saves us a little bit of time. In real life, a 2 hour show would be, I believe, be about an hour 44. So it's not actually that much more. It's just gonna be a lot more commercials. I think that's a good in between. I don't know if that is. We might end up going right back to 2 hours for another 2 hour power, but I think for now, I feel like that's going to give us enough time to get some story beats in, get a few more matches. Because just like 3 matches, bare bones, barely having time to get any breathing room for story. Our roster's just too big for that. And honestly, I'd rather get people in on the show than pre-shows where possible. Money be damned. I don't think we're going to lose that much more money. I think we have bigger issues in our finances that we'll have to look at a later point, and we're going to probably have to bite the bullet and pay a lot of money to maybe cancel a contract at some point, because I just don't think it's tenable. So, and you know who I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I think Pillman's going to have to go at some point. It's got a 4-year contract at too much money. If we were to release him, it's only going to cost $105,000. So, I think there's a cap. Someone had said that you have to pay out the entire contract. I've played around with it before, and it seems like it's 105 no matter whether it's a year or not. So I think there's a cap to the limit of maybe like a year's worth of the contract minimum. And we might just do that at some point when we're done with the story for him. I just don't think a $17,000 a month contract is tenable for us. And honestly, I think we have talent elsewhere. I think we can move on from Pillman, and if he really wants to go to AEW, he can. We've kind of screwed them over financially here in this situation, because if we do let him go, basically not only does Pillman lose that, he gets the money, but he loses the squishy contract from AEW. They would have to then pitch it again for them if they wanted it. Because AEW is not our friends anymore, because they left our alliance. So that's a couple of things we're going to do real quickly. I want to expand the alliance. So we have Championship Wrestling for Hollywood, which is a legacy member. We have Impact, which is a legacy member, right? Because they have lineage with NWA. MLW is not, but it's kind of interesting to have. And we have All Japan Pro Wrestling, which sounds weird because you're like, Durger, it's the National Wrestling Alliance. Why would you have a Japanese company? And that's actually, there's a historical precedent of the NWA actually expanded out to other countries at one point and had members all across the world as basically sort of like satellite representatives of the company. So It's sort of weird because it's like NWA, but I guess it's like how in baseball there's the All-Stars or the World Series or whatever it's called, and despite only exclusively running American teams. So I guess there's that sort of precedent to it, of that the term NWA is a little more vaguer than you would think. So one of the things I wanted to do, we were previously blocked because AEW was the largest company, and they kind of didn't want to play ball with anybody. I want to invite some more members to our alliance. That's only now. Obviously, we're not the type of alliance that trades money. It's not going to give us any kind of financial gain, really. It does give us potential for more loans, so we can kind of loan people back and forth where needed. And it's just nice to have that broader net built up. So I think that's what we're going to do. I would like to have a representative from every major territory where possible, I think. So I would like one from Mexico, one from Europe, from Britain, one from Canada. We already have an Asian one. There's no companies in the Save in Oceania or India right now, so that would basically be a representative from everyone. I have to be careful with how I do this. And the reason why is if I pick somebody bigger than me, so for example, medium, like WXW would probably be a good representative of a European company, and might be something that's beneficial to us because they have some interesting people that we could potentially use and things like that. But because they are much bigger than us, actually, they're a medium company, we are a small company, they would probably get more control of our alliance and probably push back on who to bring in. So I want to avoid them to the last. So first, let's look at our Mexican companies, and let's go with minimum size, tiny, maximum small, and see what we have here. Small is going to be more beneficial for us, but tiny is not the end of the world. So IWRG might not be a bad, though they're already part of Alliance. They're part of CMLL. So they're not going to join us at all, I don't believe, because they're already part of an alliance, and they can only have one alliance. So DTU is a hardcore company, which is kind of weird and interesting. They got a weird roster over here. I mean, we can bring them in. I don't see a problem with that if they would come in. And then we also have Crash Lucha Libre, which also might not be a bad option. Slightly bigger. A little bit more traditional, too, which I think I would like. And so they have Angelico. El Gitano would be a great person to borrow at one point. I think this is a good option. The nice thing about also having people in a similar or smaller, well, a similar size range as you, is they're more willing to trade people for a longer period of time. So that always can be pretty helpful. Let's try to invite them. They accepted. They are now part of the NWA. Let's look at Britain. I was contemplating Progress. I think would be an interesting one. Obviously, can't join the NXT UK. World of Sport Wrestling is tiny and not really worth it. Rev Pro should already have, they already have part of the IWGP. Fight Club Pro is an option, but they're about to go under, so I don't know about that. Attack Pro Wrestling small. Who do you have on here? Progress has better prestige. Got the same momentum. I think Progress is the better company to jump in on here. Now that, of course, they have a lot of the same guys. a lot of NXT guys as well, because their contracts are weird. So that could be kind of helpful. We can get Tony, and that's not who I was thinking of. Actually, who do you have? Actually, looking at you, you don't have them. Actually, did Attack have them? Not El Fantasma. Trent Seven. I like the idea of bringing Progress in instead. Strong Style Pro Wrestling is, let's look at our profiles real quick and just see. I'd like to see what their product is. I'd like to see people that might match us here. Lucha Risu is their thing. Progress is, let's see, wrestling as a sport is probably closer to us, I would say. The other option is them. No, I don't. Some good women's division stuff here would be nice, but also I don't necessarily want to. I don't know if that's worth it for us right now. Might be. I would not mind jumping in on this later, but I think this is a better get right now if we can get it. Has accepted our invitation. We'll add them. Perfect. Let's check Canada. So we got Northern Championship Wrestling. We got Smash. I was thinking about Smash. Would probably not be a bad option. Let's take a look at their company real quick. I'm not super familiar with them, so that's always kind of the problem. Some good talent on here, though, that they're not necessarily working exclusive. That's, of course, also the problem, is that none of these guys are really working exclusive, so the benefits of the alliance aren't super big compared to what it could be. If we had a different type of alliance, if we had like a consortium or something like that, it might be more beneficial. For us right now, it's almost more just about making allies and getting them out of our way, and utilizing who people have and being able to move people out if we need to. I think Smash is probably the best bet here. It's a small size, so it's a little bit bigger. It's got some good people in here we could bring in not terms of full-time contracts. We can kind of just throw people in there. 19 tag teams, which is impressive. Definitely need better tag team division, even though we hired some new people. Oh, wait, I don't want Northern Pro. Sorry. Smash. Smash has only 10 tag teams, but is better. Okay. And Europe. So Europe, we got the German Wrestling Federation, which, is an option. If I go to big or medium, we have WXW. Much bigger than us, certainly. Some stars. The only problem with this is that very often they won't play ball with trades with us, but not necessarily, right? That's not always the case. We could try to invite them. Nah, they didn't want us anyways. So I guess the German Wrestling Federation is it. Now, that made that decision easy. So now we have a much bigger alliance here, and that's great for our 3 new heritage titles and our national title. Now, the national title, 2 members of our Discord, Senior Wildcard and OG, are talking in the Discord today, which, as I was watching this, is going to be probably a couple weeks from now, or a couple weeks ago. And they had a great idea about what to do with national heavyweight, because obviously it's vacant right now. Why don't we do a round robin tournament? We've never done a round robin tournament. They're longer, takes a lot longer of a time. So I'm thinking maybe only a 5 or 6 person tournament. It'd be about 6 matches, or not 6 matches, let's see. Actually, it's gonna be a lot more than that. It's gonna be like 24. Let's see, 5. Like 16 matches or so, something like that. I think that could be cool. I think a 6-man tournament for this would be neat. I think maybe hiring some people. Well, actually, let's look at this. How many people did we just get into our tournament here? Or into our alliance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9 people, including us, right? Can we do a 9? It's gonna be a really long tournament. But what if we had it so that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a long tournament. Just having it a night or something like that. 9-person tournament would take a long time, but could be a lot of fun. Could be a lot of fun. And I'm thinking, what if every alliance member picked a person to represent them, right? So I think with the alliance loans, it's just a one-off show. So I would need to find people in each company that we could hire for like a 3-month period. So, for example, from MLW, I would want to hire somebody that's available, that contract type, just handshake, anybody that's available in a handshake that we could just kind of take for a bit, right? Like Marcus Stunt, who's apparently got kicked out of AEW. So definitely some options here. I don't know. We'll hold off on it for now. Let me know in the comments who you want. If you think this is a good idea. What I'm gonna do, because we are recording this a couple weeks ahead of time. If you're a member of the Discord, you're probably going to get a heads up on this, and I'm going to have a post of available roster, and we're probably going to pick some people out of there. So that's probably how we're going to run it, and we'll probably, by time this airs, we'll probably have a good idea of who is going to be in the tournament. But we're gonna table it for now, and then we'll. We will run it at a different point. I think that's probably what we're going to do. I think it's a cool idea, though. So every company gets to pick their champion to come in. Perhaps that leads into the Clash of Champions, which is one of our events in April. So we have a lot of time to think about this. But I kind of like the idea of maybe a tournament leading into that, a round-robin tournament, and at Clash of Champions, it's a round-robin, so maybe the finals, the final points, you would have 2 people from, do we do 2 sides? Like, make it like a G1? I'm just spitballing now. I don't know about that. I think there's more to think about for this, because I don't think we can do. Can we do a tournament? I don't think we can actually do 3-person side tournament. We might have to do 2 separate tournaments running. In which case we wouldn't actually be able to do 9 people. One of our companies would have to stay out of it. Perhaps we do it so that every company in the Alliance has a separate round robin of 8 people, and then we have a eliminator tournament in NWA, and that's how we decide our champion or something like that. And then whoever wins the round robin faces our champion at Clash of Champions. I think that's an idea. We're not going to do it for a while, so let me know in the comments what you're thinking. But anyways, that's about it for the behind-the-scenes stuff. We preambled quite a long time here, so let's just go ahead and get to the show. We do have some mail and some signings. We got to bring back in the people that we lost from those contract negotiations. Why do we still have Ryback as shortlisted? I don't know, but let's fix that real quick. Because we don't care about him anymore. Ironically, he's joining the CWFH, so we could actually pull him in if we wanted to, which is kind of fun. All right, we still have a long way to go. We're now going to be in the Highlands News Center. It's kind of an interesting change. Usually we're in the Full Sail Arena. What's the size of that? It'd be much smaller. That's a much worse venue for us. We are definitely going to pick our own arena. So, nothing. Locker room, no issues, no any problems. We'll medal. We have Eli Drake and Miro have some tension. I would not hate to try to fix that. I don't know if we're going to be able to. Yeah, a high chance of failing. We could try. No. It's worth a shot. Alright, so we got an hour and a half to book this. It should be a little bit easier, I think, to do it this way. I don't know for sure. But that's the hope, is a little bit easier on us. We do have our members of the tournament for the Circle Squared available. I think except for Chris Brooks, so I think we should be able to do Effie and King Mo. Or unless Chris Brooks is still here, we might have him. Pentagon. Okay. So let's go ahead and just get into our hour and a half power. Alright guys, we are ready. No pre-show matches tonight. We're not going to do any of the tournament because we don't have everybody here yet. And we actually, 1 hour and 30 minutes was almost perfect. I think we pretty much got everything we wanted to do. We could have done a little bit more with 2 hours, but not too bad. So I think this is definitely the nice middle of the road, middle ground here. So I think it's a much better show. Excited to show it. It's kind of a lot of squash matches on this show, so expect that. But let's go ahead and take a look at our NWA Power. We start the show with Jeff Jarrett coming out as our general manager and unveiling the last mystery title. He unveils it out of a velveteen cloth and reveals it. Very pleased with himself as he reveals a long dormant title from his old promotion, the newly minted NWA Global Force Next Gen title. It's a beaut, ain't it? He says proudly as he kind of panders to the crowd. This title means a lot here. It's meant to be a reward for untapped potential of future stardom. To hold the Next Gen title is a window into the future. The next star of the NWA, here now. Only the youngest raw talent can achieve it, and only those that have shown that raw potential for superstardom. I'm not going to give this away, though. I want to see competition. I want to see these competitors overcome adversity to reach for this glorious new opportunity. I'm going to give this opportunity first to a competitor I've had my eye on since I got here. Ace Austin, why don't you come on out? Ace does, in fact, come out to the ring. He's looking a little cocky and self-assured, as usual. And Jeff tells him, "You've already shown a lot of potential. A little less on the humility side. But I offer you a challenge. If you want an opportunity to face for this title, tonight I want you to face and beat a veteran in the ring, Eli Drake. And if you do that, I'll offer you an opportunity to compete." Ace accepts very willingly. I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer for him. And we will have a match tonight, Ace Austin versus Eli Drake. Jeff seeming very, friendly here. Not necessarily like a heel GM. It seems like he's offering a good opportunity. You have to wonder if there's maybe strings attached to this. We don't really know what his machinations are, but we know he seems generally untrustworthy. He's a carny-ass carny. So something seems up here, but for now, it seems like he's just offering an opportunity. We have Kimberly and Delilah Doom again tagging an exhibition match, this time against Madison Eagles and Nicole Matthews, based on their attack previous weeks against Delilah Doom. And Delilah Doom gets the upset after defeating Madison Eagles, the team. She rolled up Matthews with a roll-up. So a real quick pin, given her trying to build a little bit of momentum for her, just to see if we can kind of get her popularity up. And start to build her as a baby face for our undercard. Kimberly had a 53, Delilah had a 34, Nicole Matthews had a 43, and Madison Eagles had a 48. We gain heat for thought crimes, and Delilah Doom gets a win on them, which is surely not going to be great. You'll have to wonder, though, what will happen to her without Kimberly there, right? Clearly they have a friendship, they're kind of vibing off of each other, and you have two people of a similar mindset that are definitely not taking this lightly. They might not be able to compete against Kimberly, but they're definitely going to be looking at basically ruining Delilah Doom's day. Gets a 44. It's not bad. It's a good way to start the show, actually. I thought this would have been better. This was kind of a mixed bag, though 3 people weren't actually rated in this. They were just there. But I think maybe Leah Rush was set wrong here. I'm not 100% positive. But Eddie Kingston comes to the ring and introduces his 2 new members of the Kingdom. He had mentioned previously that he was bringing back up, and so he did. His long-time friend Homicide, and a fresh Leah Rush coming in to join the Kingdom. Now their numbers are looking pretty significant. Remember, their whole thing is basically like strength in numbers, right? They're sort of like this workers' class revolt against the NWA in a lot of ways. And Eddie talks about that after he kind of introduces the team and gives them a rundown of who they are and what they are doing, all that stuff. He kind of calls out some events that have been happening with Jeff Jarrett. He's clearly not a fan, so we knew that after last week. He says, so I've worked a lot of odd jobs as a kid, in between getting in trouble, fighting in the ring. I had this job once where I had to exterminate some pests in a Duplo upstate. It's a real nice place. Real nice exterior. All brick. Beautiful floors and walls on the inside. You see, what happens is when people that live there don't realize that the things they see on the surface, on the outside, it's the overflow. One little rat munching in the kitchen, one little cockroach skittering away under a fridge. You think that's the infestation. Nah, you gotta peel back the walls. And then you see it all. The rot, the filth, the piss and shit covering inside your home. Your home's rotting away on the inside, and you don't even know it. Outside looks fine. The inside's where you gotta look. See, the NWA, it's infested. New roll of wallpaper's not gonna change that. You can't do this alone, though. You're outnumbered. You need numbers to back you up. You need fire to purge it. And, here's the thing. If I need to, I will burn this whole bitch down. Last week, I saw a single vermin. Now it's time to peel back the wall and exterminate. Eddie Kingston firing at NWA management, Jeff Jarrett, open shots being fired here. We will have to see how Jarrett retaliates, but he's basically kind of showing his army and saying, I'm about to take this place over. I'm about to run this. You're corrupt. Everyone behind you, behind the scenes, is corrupt, and I'm going to prove it. Homicide debuts, gets a poor rating for his gangster gimmick. And we advance a storyline about the Empire. Angle gets the crowd hotter. Unfortunately, does a 38, underperforms. After that, we have the Kingdom, our representatives of the Kingdom, Homicide and Lio Rush, having a match against War Machine. And it's a pretty quick one, 7 minutes. Homicide pins Hanson with a Kingdom's Fall. Gets a 49. It's not bad. Lio Rush had a 43. Homicide had a 47. Rowe had a 44. And Hanson had a 43. Gets us a 49. No, not bad. And we get a win for the Kingdom and our new tag team. After that, we got a squash match real quick here with Thunder Rosa and Simone Johnson. We're throwing the Rock's daughter out here as a local talent. It's a real quick one. Actually had decent wrestling, but no heat, obviously. Thunder Rosa defeated Simone in 2 minutes with a La Rosa. Thunder Rosa had a 56. Simone had a 33. We updated Thunder Rosa's skill set in that live stream, and I think it paid off. She feels much better already. And gave the crowd a breather, which is kind of what its goal was, keep them from buzzing too hard. Gets a 38, it's not bad. And gets Thunder Rosa a little bit more popularity bump here. After that, we have a mysterious commercial. It's kind of odd. It's a commercial plays after the match, and it looks like some kind of like a pharmaceutical company or something. It's lots of clips of children playing, women in like white dresses, smiling and talking to one another, roaming crane, like drone shots of forests and mountains and all that kind of thing. And a voice comes over, it's a woman's voice, and it gives a sort of a narration for some kind of product or group of something, some sort. It goes, Namaste, viewers. Have you ever felt like you're on a separate path from everyone else? The world keeps on moving on around you, and it feels like you're leaving. It's leaving you behind. Do you ever feel like there is no purpose in your actions? Do you feel like you have a greater potential? If only you had that push to achieve the greatness you deserve. The Satori Initiative is here for you. With the wisdom granted by our enlightened founder, find clarity of mind and a newfound sense of purpose. Call today to speak to one of our certified life coaches. Be more. Be elevated. Be Satori. It's a weird commercial. I'm sure nothing will come of it at all. And we got FTR versus some local jobber group I'm calling Pearl Slam. FTR have a quick squash match, about 4 minutes, ends up hitting Leon Scott with a shatter machine. These guys kind of suck. They're fun. Actually, one of them was not horrible. But we just wanted a random squash match for FTR, and it does what it needs to do. It's a 31, though. It's a kind of underperformer, unfortunately. And after the fact, we have Kevin Von Erich coming out. Oh man, this is a pretty poor segment too. Kind of celebrating FTR's win here. And he says, in all my years of wrestling, I never thought I'd see such a beautiful return to form as this. Wrestlers today disrespect the legacy we founded, but you boys, you believe in it. You revel in it. That's why I chose to manage you. I knew that my knowledge was being wasted away, and that it needed to be given to true talent, willing to do everything they need to be on top. Backstage, we see the Von Erichs watching on a video screen and are clearly upset that their dad is basically throwing them under the bus in this situation. FTR stole the Von Erichs' dad, essentially. We start a new storyline. We're just kind of changing it up a little bit, adding who's in there. But we got the Battle of the South, FTR versus Von Erichs. Clearly, eventually, this is clearly going to end up being a Kevin Von Erich on a pole match. Eventually, we'll probably get there. It gets the crowd hotter. It gets a 37, though. It's unfortunate. Kevin Von Erich's a little weaker on the microphone. I think we probably should have upped him as well. I might do that off air, because he definitely is a better talker than 37. We got the Cult of Josephus getting a little bit of a grudge match against Nick Aldis, and for some reason Enzo and Big Cass are there too, just to get them on their show, I guess. Colt Cabana is having a poor reaction from his potential hint at a face turn. Unfortunately, people are kind of remembering how recent that was, I guess. So that might be a problem. It's an extremely short match, though. Nick Aldis and Enzo and Big Cass defeat the Cult of Josephus. Nick Aldis pins Connor with a Tormentor after Colt Cabana wiped out Connor by accident. So some miscommunication going on and a quick pinfall by Nick Aldis picking it up. This is a wildly inconsistent match. 41 is actually kind of shockingly good for what it is. Did get the crowd hotter, though, which is interesting. Afterwards, we just have a segment of Colt Cabana in his final moments being asked to use a weapon, refuses to cheat. Basically, Connor ends up grabbing the weapon. Colt Cabana lets go, smashes Connor, and Connor knocks himself out, essentially, and allows Nick Aldis to get a quick win. Colt Cabana clearly miscommunicating with the Colt now. There seems like he's not in lockstep. You have to, and obviously Pentagon's not there right now, but you got to wonder what he's going to say when he gets back. Still, the crowd not happy with that potential turn again. As we big show him and have him spin around. We got Ace Austin versus Eli Drake. Now, this is a hell of a match. Ace Austin, it had great heat and good heat and great wrestling, I should say. Ace Austin defeated Eli Drake in 12 minutes with the fold. During the match, we also had Jarrett 120 coming in, member of the Smoking Aces, attack Drake when the ref wasn't looking, allowed him to get unbalanced. And Drake did not, Drake ended up getting all discombobulated, like I am right now as I'm trying to word salad my way through this. And Ace Austin capitalizes on that attack and ends up winning his challenge against Eli Drake. That means if Jeff Jarrett keeps his word, he has an opportunity at some point for the next gen title. We'll have to find out, though, what kind of title match that is. It might not be just him. It might be multiple people getting a opportunity. We will have to see. Got the crowd buzzing. Match is a 60. And in our main event, we have Miro in a title match. Last week, we had the accidental flub. I just moved it over. It's fine. Fortunately, though, it reset the world's title count, but Miro was never supposed to win that. I don't know why that was set that way. But Miro, having won his Hot Shot Challenge, goes against Pillman and has a match, and Pillman does defeat him, proving the ego's, he's still good despite that ego, right? We also had Jeff Jarrett, though, kind of come in and distract Miro a little bit. So there's a little bit of element of Jeff Jarrett is working with Pillman in some capacity here. We don't know what's going on. Had great heat, good wrestling, 63. Afterwards, Jarrett hands the title over to Pillman, clapping and smiling, raising Pillman's hand. Pillman, though, looks confused by this whole situation, kind of unsure of Jarrett's motivations or intention. Clearly, they're not talking to each other. Jarrett grabs a microphone and goes, "Brian Pillman, everyone. Wow, I worked with his dad. He's great." Kind of selling him over a little bit. This is the face of the company, the true ace of the National Wrestling Alliance. Pillman hears that, and his ears kind of perk up, and he smirks and kind of begins to accept the situation. The flattery starting to kind of go to his head. He's got a lot of big ego moments starting to come up here. He's had this wage war over his contract. He's got this big guaranteed contract in the NWA. A lot of big things happening. Now the GM is putting him over as the ace. It's getting to his head really big, right? So it seems like Jarrett and them aren't working together, but Jarrett definitely sees Pillman as sort of like the money brand for the company, and he's going to do what he needs to do for what's best for business. Jarrett going off script really well, as did Pillman, which is nice. Ends up with a 58 for a final segment, which is not bad. The show's probably going to be weaker. I'm thinking about 52-ish. 59 actually ended up being pretty good. I think the last couple matches saved us there. But overall, not a bad show. All right, we got some mail. Austin's hurting a little bit. I'm going to give him some time off. And pretty good. Still about the same amount, 0.04. That's going to be the struggle. It's kind of building that up there. But not too bad. Pretty good show. Pretty happy with it. Our financials, I'm going to look at it real quick. I hate to look at it. It's not too bad. Actually, all things considered, our ticket sales are about consistent with where we were expecting it. We'll see where we're at in terms of financials, but I think an hour and a half seems like a pretty good medium here. Now we got Power in another 6 days. We got 2 weeks. We got formerly Into the Fire, currently Genesis. Kind of building that up. It's going to be a pretty short build because we're not really building much on it. Remember, that's only going to be a 2-hour show, so it's not like a real special. It's kind of like how Impact does their like tinier shows. So it's just sort of a way to cap off the month. It's not going to be one of our big shows. Really, our storyline is going to be building towards, I think, Vicious Valentine is a 2-hour show as well. I think Spring Stampede is a 4-hour show. No, that's another 2-hour show. I think it's Clash is our next big 4-hour show. So, we got these little 2-hour shows. Definitely some stories are going to pay off into each, but the bigger stories are going to kind of pay off like once every couple months in the bigger shows here. We may have to add 1 or 2 more 4-hour shows. I don't know. All right, that's it. That's a long episode. Thank you guys for sticking with me, and I will see you next time. Have a great one.